going to be using Judy's Magic Cast On to do a provisional cast on. And I love Judy's Magic Cast On because it can be used for a variety of things. And in fact, I'm doing another video on how to use it for a tubular cast on because it can be used in that way as well. If I'm using it for a provisional, what I want to do is have 2 circular needles, and I've got them right here. And in this case, I've got a short one and a longer one, just so I can tell them apart, because frequently I will grab the wrong needle, and then where are you? Now, like Judy's Magic Cast On, I have the short end of the yarn over my index finger and the working yarn, the long part, over my thumb. And I insert the 2 needles between, and I wrap the yarn around the first needle on top, and then I bring the yarn over the top and through the second needle, between, around, and to the center. So on both sides, what I'm doing is I'm wrapping the yarn into the center. Now, if I am doing a provisional cast on, it doesn't matter whether I have an odd number of stitches or even number of stitches. It doesn't matter. I just make sure that I count the stitches. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do want to have the same number of stitches on both needles because in a provisional cast on, what I'm going to be picking up should match what's on the other side. And I'll do just 1 more, well, 2 more. And it's so easy. You get into a rhythm, and then when you're done, notice how it looks. I've got like little purl bumps there joining the 2 stitches. All right, now what I do next is I twist it clockwise, and I've got my short end right here, and I want that on the top needle, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my working yarn and catch that loose strand. And I'm going to shift this needle out of the way, my short needle, and I'm going to grab my matching needle, the long one. So I've got my long needle here and my long needle here. And if you're better at keeping track of stuff like this, then you don't need to go through all of this, but I always forget. And I just go through and I work these stitches. And I go merrily on my way. Now, once I've got a couple of rows done, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take those needles off because the sound of them right here is driving me crazy. And again, I want to check when I turn. I want to check and make sure I'm not using that shorter needle. And I work this row. And when I get to the other end now, I like using, I use Chow Goo interchangeable needles just because I like them. They're pointy and sharp, and they last really long. They're my favorites. That's not a sales pitch. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, so on the top, what you'll be doing when you're working is you're just going to work on one side. And to keep these stitches kind of out of the way, I'm going to get my little notions over here where I have my stoppers. And I'm going to take off the needles. I didn't screw them on real tight because I knew I'd be taking them off. And again, I want to make sure I'm taking off the wrong ones. The right ones. Don't listen to anything I say. Just screw them on. I'm making this 2 days before Christmas and things were a bit hectic. Screw them on. And there's my provisional cast on. Now, the only drawbacks that I can see with this method is that having this cable down here and these stoppers can be a bit irritating when you first start working because they're kind of in your way. But once you get working, they're, off to the side. And you don't need to worry about undoing crochet chains and using the provisional cast on where you are using your fingers like a variant of the long tail to put it on. It's not as loose, and it's quite nice and tight. And I like this. This is the method I generally use now.